Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. And what is the interpretation of all today? A three. Okay. Hope each one of you are doing well. All right. So we have Sid and Sid and Sid and me and Sid. So that makes four of us. So let's see what we have here. Sid is here. Says hello, General. Male 34, Manchester. Says was in India for 3 weeks. How are you? You were in India. Why are you asking me? How are you? How was India? I'm good, dear. Thank you very much. I've been enjoying myself with the a new hobby. Not a new, but a newly picked up again hobby. I've been busy at the shooting range with different guns and thinking of my younger age in the army. And just recently, my son gifted me with a amazing uh, gun of the family of the guns that I used to train with in the army. And I always talked about it with him and how it was and the shooting experience and the sniper contest and all that. Not a contest, but the training and activities. And so today, Heckler and Koch, which was a German manufacturer of the G3 in 45 years ago, of course, have updated that gun from the same family of G3 to G36 now. And that gun were, is available. So he gifted me with that. It was quite a surprise and an emotional experience. And for the first time yesterday, I got a chance to actually take it to the range and zero it. It was a beautiful experience. It took me 3 hours to zero it because it's a new gun and we couldn't find where it was hitting as the scope was, had to be zeroed. And my spotter was one of the officers in the range, and we had a great fun figuring this thing out. And finally, half an hour before closing the range, I got it. I got it, and I had five straight bullseye right in the center in 200 yards, 200-meter, and it was a very pleasant experience, and I'm enjoying it still. The G3 at the time when I was in the military was a heavier gun. It was like about 5 kilo, 10 pound almost. The bullets were 7.62 by 51, I believe, and that's a heavy bullet. And so at 300 yards, 300-meter, when we were all lined up outside in the field, um, it was quite of a experience because 300 yards, no scope. We had no scopes. You had to just see it and hit it. And since I'm old enough, I think I get the credit of boasting or blowing my own horn at this point. Nobody's around. Shh. Out of possible 30, I got 28 in 300-meter. That was something. I got 24-hour leave because of that. And it was sweet going home, having home cooked food, a meal, and enjoying 24 hours of just not being in the base. Anyhow, so that gun is now updated heavily to a modern gun, which is fraction of the weight. The bullet is 5.65 by 49, I believe, which is much lighter. So makes it very sensitive gun. And in 200 yards, 300 yards, the effect of the wind and the air quality and the moisture and everything would much easier affect that light bullet than the previous predecessor grandfather G3. So it was hard to first of all not ouch, I burned myself in my teeth. First of all, not to move the light gun. When the gun is very light, it's also easier to be affected by the recoil, and when you fire it, it moves. And also, it's very light. It's kind of, for me, I think it's a bit hard to keep it before firing because it doesn't take much to move it. It's not heavy. So anyhow, altogether, and then they, of course, now they have a scope, and the gun barrel is much thinner than the original G3. The bullets because smaller. So when you shoot a bunch at a time, which I, sometimes don't wait too long, I just see the target and shoot it, it will warm up the barrel because it's too thin now. It's not as heavy as the grandfather gun. So that could also affect the performance of the bullet coming out, because now the steel is heated up. And so the effects of it, when it passes through the barrel, the bullet will feel the effect of it. And so it will, again, so it's advisable to maybe you hit a bunch and then give it a 5-minute cool off time to, if you want to be accurate, because these guns are not for as a sniper gun. These are military guns for, for war, for battle, and they're not really precision. And the other gun that I was trying last week, a few weeks ago, that was a Ruger precision gun. That's a heavy gun, and that was not too difficult to hit bullseye at 200. I had many of them in the first half an hour. So anyhow, you got me going on that. I don't think you're here for hearing my experience at the shooting range. So thank you for listening. I enjoy that whole experience. So let's see who else we have here. And I get to the first question, which is Sid's. And Jake is here, says, Mehran, how are you, my friend? Hello, Jake. Good to see you here. And so let's go to Sid, first question, and then we go to Jake and so on. We have 10 people here, apparently 12 now. That's pretty good. Where are the questions? So get busy, guys. But now, let's see what Sid says. Says, I just have a small question. Yeah, I'm aware of these. I'm aware of these small questions. Questions may be small, but the answers could be impossible. But let's see. Says, I have been super happy for the last month or so and do not think about Yuli much. And we get along well, like normal, and I'm happy. Great. So far, so good. Says, how can I sustain this level of happiness? Does it make sense what I'm writing? It's a small question, but it has a big answer, my friend. So, and he says, can I have this special recipe for the smoothie that I was making? Or is it like really, really special? No, I can give you this recipe, no problem. At the end of my discussion, for sure. All right. So you've been happy for a month, super happy. And your question is, how can I sustain this level of happiness? Well, the problem in life in regards to happiness is not that we cannot find happiness. We can find happiness in every little thing, provided, we have the blessings of being generally healthy and our families and loved one being healthy, putting that aside and assuming that is, you know, fine and okay, we are capable of finding happiness in most everydays if we focus that happiness comes in small dosages and it resides in everything if we understand the meaning of life. So if you're expecting happiness to have a certain banner that, hey, you just stumbled in happiness, haha, the rest of the day it wasn't. But now this moment, because of this particular experience, that is called and considered happiness. No, happiness is there if you understand what you're looking at and connect it with the value and quality of your life. So you can find happiness that is a natural ability of every human being, should they have been trained to know how to find happiness, which is in every little blessings that we have. To begin with, I can breathe. God bless you. That's happiness. I have something to drink, some safe place to sleep, something to eat. These are all roots of happiness. Without these things that I just mentioned, it doesn't matter what else is there, how much money or whatever relationship, none of them is going to bring you happiness if the basics are not there. And you can find the basics that creates happiness for you in almost everything you do in life, provided that that prerequisite that I mentioned earlier is already there. So the problem in happiness is not finding it. What stops the happiness is when you want to sustain it. That's the problem. You want to sustain the happiness, but trying to focus on how to sustain the happiness is the main reason for you not to be happy. Suffering starts when you try to turn impermanent to permanent. As I mentioned before, you have a nice looking apple and you take it from the tree and take a bite. And you say, wow, what an apple. It's a joy feeling. Now, so far so good, but the problem starts when you say, now I want to have this feeling and this delicious taste in my mouth every day. That becomes a problem now because you try to turn the impermanent, that's experience of biting an apple, into permanent. Now you got to find out, how can I be here every day? How can I have an apple tree? How would it be the same way? How can I get it without anybody says, hey, that's not your tree? All these other things becomes a stumbling block for the very thing that gave you that joy, that you simply disregarded it and focused on sustaining the joy rather than enjoying the joy at that moment. Now, coming a little bit closer to home and more philosophical, if you want to sustain the happiness beyond what we just discussed, the question would be, how could you guarantee that everybody would behave in certain same way that made you happy for a month for a duration of time? You're not in control of that. At that particular moment experiences, things were happening and people were behaving in a certain way towards you or towards life, and you were in an environment that could simply generate happiness. But how can you be in control of people's behavior and interaction with you in the same way that they did for a month that made you happy? Because that is expecting everyone to create the image you have created of them in your mind that makes you happy, that they would actually be the image you created of them in your mind versus being something else that you only found a fragment of who they are, and you created the whole persona out of them with that fragment that you got to know about them. So you created an image out of them using that small fragment of their existence, their characteristics. You're not in control of that, and you can't guarantee that you will continuously see the same angle of theirs. So you would create the same image you created of them during the past month, because they always behaved in the same way. They're human beings. They will have different effects on their consciousness, and they would react differently according to different ingredients that is introduced to their consciousness, the environment, the happenings. So maybe some of the reactions would not be in line with the first increments of that what you saw from them, which pleased you. And on that basis, you created an image of them in your mind about them. Now you see different angles. You won't be able to see that continuity of their behavior and reactions towards events of life as you did maybe yesterday. What are you going to do then? You're going to create a different image in your mind about them based on their new behavior, based on the new situation that they're facing. So what happened to that person that you really liked yesterday? No longer exists. You have created a new image based on this behavior of them. So what I'm trying to say is that you cannot guarantee that people would always present to you the side of them that you prefer and use to create that beautiful image that you became infatuated or happy with them. If a girl pays attention to me, I don't know if she's paying attention to me or she's paying attention or infatuated or expresses that emotion, kind emotion that she's expressing to me. Is it to me or is it to the image she has made out of me in her own mind? Maybe she would not like me when she gets to know me. Am I going to question that? Am I going to stop any possibilities just because I don't know if she knows me well, and I don't know what kind of image she has made out of me in her own mind by a fragment of my behavior that she has seen, and now I'm supposed to live up to her expectations, to the image she has made out of me in her own mind? I don't know what that image is. All I can say is, like me when you know me. Because if you tell me you like me, but you don't know me yet, then I may want to sustain that you liking me the way you say you do now, not knowing what you know about me. So you should stop expecting that all these things that made you happy is an absolute. This is a relative world. Their idea about you may change, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're a bad or good person because of their idea. It just means that it can change based on the image they make out of you, based on the reactions, interactions you have with life on a daily basis. At that particular time, day, moment, month, your reactions, their reactions create a certain image that made them to behave in a certain way that made you happy. But you cannot guarantee that they would always react towards you in the same way, because you're not reacting in the same way in light of everything that happens in life. You will judge it. You will have different sides and different remedies and different behavior and angles. And those behavior and angles and decisions may not be in line with what they would like to see in you. So what is it going to make you a bad person, or because they don't like you that you can't be happy? So you got to stop seeking happiness in a certain momentary reactions or feeling and emotions that you get in a certain circumstances, and start looking for happiness in the basics of life that you can sustain. But when it's dependent on the behavior of the others, which is dependent on what side of you they're seeing and what event of life you're negotiating with, you can't sustain that. And the same thing goes with you. If you base your happiness on liking someone, let's say, or an event or a person, let's talk about relationships. You base your happiness on someone's behavior towards you in a positive manner, or you base your happiness on a reaction or negotiation of someone's towards an event in life, well, that particular event, the way she handled it, could have met your expectations and your admiration. But maybe there are other circumstances in life that she would not be able to measure up or have a very aware or reasonable reaction or judgment about it. Then you may not like that outcome, which would mean may not like that person in that situation. So you cannot consider what you're happy about someone should sustain. And if she should step out of that and negotiate something else differently, you should now not like her, because there are different reactions based on the condition in our consciousness that makes us to react in different ways, in different circumstances. And so you can't base a image you make out of someone to be the only image they can make out of that someone. And based on that, you'll be happy or dissatisfied with that person. So what I'm trying to say is that be happy and satisfied with that particular experience, and don't try to sustain it, because that could be disappointing, because she may decide to react or deal with another situations which would not create a certain complementary image of her in your mind. So look at things compartmentally. She's dealing in a certain way that impresses you, appreciate that. Don't think about now, oh, that's the kind of girl she is forever. No, tomorrow she may have, I don't know, her hand sticking in her nose and say, oh, what is that? So just be open to take the joy of the moment and have that based on your happiness, not the sustainment of all these happenings that are joyful at one time or another. Be accepting to the fact that things can change, people can react differently towards you. You may create a different image of them in different circumstances. And these are all okay and not based on a certain conclusion that you should have in order to make a judgment about that person. Today, she was lovely. She made me a nice tea. That's all. Now, trying to sustain what should I do to make her always make me a nice tea, or be so pleasant, or so tolerant of my shortcomings or my behavior, or so feminine and soft and understanding. Stop all that bullshit. Stop expectations. When you stop expectations, everything is a beautiful surprise, positive stuff. But when you start focusing on how to sustain it, that's the suffering that takes away your happiness. So take it as a gift and don't worry about it to sustain it. And look for happiness in the basics of life, because those basics of life are always available for you to bring about that happiness that you're trying to sustain. But if you base your happiness on big things, then it'll be hard to find a way to sustain it. In other words, if you think your happiness is based on a promotion or a big house or new house or a new car, that will happen maybe every few years. So you'll be happy once every few years. That's not the way to go. But if you base your happiness on simple, basic things that is available on every moment in life, a cup of tea, it's not too difficult to get it. Breathing. It's pretty good. I can be happy. Safe place to sleep. Not too much noise, I can sleep. Something to eat, clean to eat. Yeah. Yeah. These are basics. I can use them to create that satisfaction in me, which could fuel me to go and get bigger things, the car, the house, this, that, the relationship, whatever. But take away that expectation, take away that focus on sustaining something, take away of thinking that the image you make out of this woman or whatever it is, situation that you're in, is the only way that could bring you happiness and is the only image that that person is offering. Just enjoy that moment that causes you to create that image. Don't go any further. If tomorrow she's behaving in a certain way that pisses you off or makes you disappointing, then you will have a different image. But you don't worry about the tomorrow and the next image if it's going to be the same as today's or going to be different today. Don't. Focus on this pleasant experience. Don't want to sustain it because that feeling of elation will stay with you. But as soon as you say, oh, what am I going to do if I don't have this tomorrow? You're going to ruin that even short time of that pleasant emotion experience because you bring anxiety and worry and fear of not having this, what you're enjoying, which ruins the whole thing. So, bottom line is, you're creating an image out of people, and according to their behavior, negotiation, experience, and expression of that moment in that life. And don't go any further. Because tomorrow you could have a different image. With the fear of what that image would be, you will ruin today's experience and joy of the image that they were able to help you to create, or you created. They're not responsible for it. You're happy with the images that you make out of people in your own mind. And unless you know them, you can't say this person is like this and that's what made me happy. Because even the reason that you're happy because of the image you made out of them in your mind, it may not be true because that's the image you made out of them. But they may not have been or are the kind of person that you've made an image of. So don't worry about it. That's your inner world, and that's how you saw it. That's the angle you saw them, and stick with that. And tomorrow, if it was the same, great. If it wasn't, then you'll assess it then. You're creating certain kind of an anxiety and fear instead of enjoying the moment that is giving you happiness. You're analyzing too much, expecting certainty, expecting sustaining a certain positive situation. Don't. Is always going to be disappointing. Because you set a certain standard by saying, oh, that's what I like about her, and that's, I hope she will be like this all the time. And she's a human being. She's going to have ups and downs, and you can't consider that she'll always be that cool and collected and that you'll be impressed by her in the same way you were impressed this moment. So you're sabotaging your own level of happiness and ability to sustain happiness by wanting to sustain happiness. So base it on the basics of life and understand that the image you're making out of people could be different and change tomorrow. And that's the image you make. That's not their reality. For you to get to know them is not through the images that you make about them in your own mind. It's about certain time and interaction with them in a real life to get to know them first and then make a judgment of this person is of my kind or not, or, you know, it's compatible or not. All right. It can go on for another hour or so, but this is one-way discussion, so I don't know if it resonates with you or not. On that note, let's go to, who was our next? We had Jake here. Jake says, I'm struggling a little still, but hopefully one day we will get there. Jake, you are expecting a conclusion. That is the problem. Like you're waiting for certain kind of a signal. Now you have reached where you should have been reaching. There's no such thing. All of these are bullshit. All your thoughts, intrusive thoughts, expecting it not to show up, expecting it to show only the kind of thoughts that you like, these are all bullshit. It'll never happen. So if you're waiting for that certain kind of a sign that comes on and flashes in your brain that you have now reached where you should have been reaching, which is where there is no intrusive thoughts, that's bullshit. Every one of us have intrusive thought 24/7, at least not every day, but once in a while, or how many times a day, who knows. The art of being able to negotiate that is to understand that this is a possibility of the brain. It has intrusive thought. It has lots of shit in it. And I understand that it has that. Not that I understand what it has that is me, or it's pertaining me, or it's about me, or I should accept it, or I should give meaning to it. No, I just accept that the brain does create these intrusive thoughts. Why? I don't give a fuck. That's your attitude should be. I really don't care, because the brain is not me. I'm aware of my sexuality and inclination, not through the brain. My awareness has made it clear to me, and that is why I notice everything that is contrary to this awareness. My awareness is because there is a contradiction between the brain's uttering and suggestions and who I am. If it was the same, there would be no awareness that why the brain is saying this. I would not even notice it. Because then what the brain would be saying, it would be in line with my awareness of who I am, what gender I am, what my sexuality inclination is, and there would be no contradiction, so there would be no awareness. The fact that you come up with these things is enough for you to know that the brain is an outsider. So what it utters, it's not about you, it's about its function that it does this. Brain has no gender for you to think that what it says must pertain you. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. Brain is separate than you. You're separate from the brain. If they take someone's brain and implant it into someone else's brain, that's not going to change that person's sexuality because they use this brain to that. Maybe they use a man's brain to a woman's brain. That's not going to make the woman man, because the brain is not center of your sexuality. Because brain is not us, we are not the brain. There are aspects of you and your mind that the brain cannot even reach, let alone have any say in changing it. So all it does, it makes thoughts. And as long as you don't understand that it's an apparatus, it's an organ, you will think these thoughts define you. It doesn't. It's just a bullshit brain sound that it makes. But it's not your sexuality that the brain decides or refers to. It just makes thoughts. If they take your liver and implant it in someone else's, it works for them. It's not going to say, oh, I'm a liver of a woman and you're putting it in a man, so my liver is now going to be... No. The only way that the brain, that if they're going to choose it, put it in a woman's brain, might not work, because the size of it could be different. Not what it does. What it does is not deciding or changing your gender. It doesn't understand. It's got nothing to do with your sexuality. It just makes thoughts. And if you want to be so naive to think that the brain, what it says, actually defines me, then you're fucked. But once you understand the brain is just an organ apparatus that makes thoughts 80, 90,000 times a day, and none of them is relevant to you, and you're beyond the brain, you're the judge, you're the sole judge of what it utters. You let some to fall by the wayside, or some that is useful, you use them for calculation, figuring out things and accomplishing things in your life. That's his job, that's all. But somehow we have given this brain some kind of a bullshit mechanism or bullshit um, authority to decide for our gender inclination. Oh, he thought that this person is interesting. Yeah, okay. You can see symmetric. You can see handsomeness, beautifulness, regardless of what your gender is. It can see all those designs, and that's what it. And then it can think of all kind of things that it's got nothing to do with you, but it does. It's able to think that just because it's capable of thinking all these things that is out there and is a possibility in the world that has been introduced to your brain, that you become informed about the existence of all these things and different genders and inclinations and lifestyles and all that, doesn't mean that when it utters it or thinks about it or imagines or brings all these intrusive thoughts, it's got anything to do with you. It's irrelevant to you, because you're not the brain. Brain is not you. All right. Let's go on to Atif. Says, hi, Meran. Male, New York City, 39. Gotta have a sip of tea. Never miss a chance to spend a little time with a cup of tea. As the British says, proper cup of tea. Mm. Roasted dandelion roots. It's supposed to be magnificent for you. I'm in a goofy mood a little bit, I guess. Or perhaps I like the questions. Atif says, hi, Mehran. Male, New York City, 39. I have a happy life with hobbies. Good job. Just bought a condo. Some friends. And date here and there. I'm building my life to be self-sufficient, because I know relationships are very difficult and I've had a bad experience. The only thing I want more is a kid in my life to raise. Is it too bad to want to be a single father? Instead of putting all women in one category, that because you had a bad experience, therefore you're shy away from it, and you're going to miss one of the most beautiful experiences of this journey of life, to be with a woman, to interact with a woman. It may not work, but that's okay. That's why we are here, to experience things that some may and some may not work. We learn from the things that didn't work, and we try to modify our selection process to select better, more compatible, and have a better experience next time. The beautiful thing about it is that there is not just one woman or one relationship that could define your life or give you the opportunity of learning things in this life. If it didn't work, you'll try your best. If it didn't work, well, you go to fine tune your selection and find somebody that's more compatible with you. Expecting that you will be in a relationship that there would be no problems and no trouble is a fool's hope, I would say. I don't mean that you're a fool. I'm saying anyone, all of us. Because the consciousness is a dynamic apparatus that is constantly changing. When you get an experience and your consciousness based on the conditioning you've received in it throughout your life, it reacts to that experience differently. And because of that experience and that reaction and interaction, the consciousness dynamically changes. So next time when you see and interact the same situation, the consciousness may now react very different than the first time because it's now has evolved. And these sort of experiences in life causes people to actually constantly update their consciousness, some in a positive way, some in a negative way. So expecting that this human being, this person, would remain the same as the first day that you guys met and chatted each other up, it's a foolish expectation. And if that's the reason that you don't want to be in a relationship with a woman, well, that's not a valid reason, because every human being, including you, myself, everybody else, could have different reactions toward different situations, and their consciousness may change. But when it does change and is no longer in line with your values, well, then you sever the relationship and you go on. That's the time that you will try to see how best you should get your act together and be a good father, if you happen to have a child by then when you guys separate. But thinking that from the beginning you don't even want to give a chance to see if you have made the right selection and if you can make it work together and then be a parent together with the children, for the children, that's not good. That's not good attitude. You should give the best chance and present your best effort and best side of you to a relationship and try to make it work, both of you, not just one. I think the thing is, you think you're the only one who should be responsible to make the relationship work. No, it's a two-way street. Both her and you both should do your best to sustain the relationship, especially if you have children. If you did that and if it still didn't work, or if just wouldn't have worked because somebody is just nuts or is into weird things of choices and judgments in life, or different unacceptable paths in life, then okay, you separate. But then you will try to do your best and dedicate yourself as much as you can and take over the role of the other parent as well and become the best father you can be. You should try to be the best father you can be, whether you're with your girlfriend or wife or not. But if it didn't work, that's the time you should really focus on, continuing the journey as a single father. But right out of the outset, to expect that's nonsense. How can you have a child with someone that you're not in love? How can you be in love with someone when you don't even want to give them a chance to give your honest self to them just because you had a bad experience in the past? They should now suffer for it. How many girls and boys get into a relationship with so much baggage from the old relationship that they don't give each other a decent chance, and they fuck it up right because they're afraid or they're trying to retaliate against the missed opportunity or a bad experience that they had in the previous relationship? That's not a good attitude to enter into any relationship. I'm going to turn this one the way I want because that one cheated me or that one was such an asshole. What does it have to do with this girl or that boy? These are newcomers. They must have learned something from their experiences in life, but why do you want to punish the wrong person? Or what do you want to punish? Just if it doesn't work, move. And then find another one. Just because you had a bad experience doesn't mean every other experience, future experiences, would also be bad. Why do you go on this premise? Just say, well, I had a bad experience, so that means my next experience will be good. Because there should be so many bad, then I have a good. It's like sales call. You make a sales call. It did. No, do you want to buy? No, I don't want to buy. You want to buy? No, you don't want to buy. Next one. And somebody says, after 10 times saying no, somebody says, oh yeah, what do you got for sale? It's a numbers game. So you can't say because the last one was bad experience, the next one will also be bad. You say the last one was bad, so it's time for a good one. If it turned out a good one, great. If it didn't, well, then you go to the next one, because the next one would probably be the good one because two bad ones. That's how you should be thinking. Otherwise, you will never go forward. If I think about every woman that actually didn't meet my standards, then I will never be able to give myself the opportunity or chance if I happen to find someone that seems wonderful or is interested to get to know me. Instead of judging her for who she is, I say, well, because that one, wasn't, with good qualities. So why would I even make the effort? Well, that's a different person, different consciousness. Learn about her first and then decide. All right. And holy shit is here. That's a really interesting screen name. It says, hi, Meran 32, male Germany. Oh, wie geht's? Guten Tag. Says, what is the most helpful thing to do when dealing with loneliness as a person with borderline disorder? Well, you feel lonely. I have a video on this that you can just put in lonely and it'll come up, but I'll try to remember some of it. You feel lonely because you have limited your world to some people and a certain relationship and certain criteria of standards and expectations. And if it's not met, you can't interact and find yourself lonely. And also, it's important to know the difference between being lonely or alone. If you're alone, that doesn't mean you're lonely. Lonely is when you choose not to be continuously connected with the universe. If you have separated yourself from the collective consciousness of the universe, if you have separated yourself from the existence of all that energy has created in this universe, you may find yourself limited to choices that will help you not to be lonely. And you will end up feeling lonely. Because if we are accustomed to think that I have to be with this friend or that friend, or I have to do this activity or that activity, and that's the only way through my interaction with these other people, then I will find myself not being lonely. Then there's a chance that you may find yourself lonely despite of it, because all these friends and people are very limited resources and opportunities that exist in this universe for you not to feel lonely. Why and how? In order to understand that, you got to understand where you come from. Everything in the universe comes from energy. You come from energy. But you somehow think that the energy that looks like you, encased in things that looks like you, other human beings, are the only ones that you're connected with. But you got to focus on the actual essence of you, which is energy. And that's what you're connected to, which means you're connected to trees, animals, flowers, ocean, wind. You're never alone. You're an energy that is flowing throughout the whole universe, connected to all other energy, as energy is constantly in the movement. You don't have a limited certain amount of energy separated from all other parts of the energy exist in the universe. It's a conflux. It's constantly conflict. If it doesn't, you will have an old rotted energy and you die. That's when we die, when our bodies cannot hold new, fresh, and refreshed energy. And it's cooped up and it cannot replenish itself. But as long as we have conflux and interchange between our energy and universal energy, we are alive and we are vigorant. That's the word. And we are fresh and we are living and we are connected. If a drop of the ocean comes out of the ocean, it thinks of itself as a drop if it thinks about that limitation of its surrounding. But if it thinks about its connection of where it came from, it's part of the ocean. It has the power of the ocean. It is never lonely. All it has to know is that where did it come from? And if it needs to, just roll back into the water, and that's ocean again. So, same thing with you. You are part of the universal energy. You're not alone ever. You are connected as long as you're aware of that connection. But if you think your connection is only to the physical things, then you're very limited and you may feel lonely. You can, when you walk alongside of the beach or wherever you walk, what do you see? What do you feel? You walking on the road? Or you're walking amongst the energy of whatever else is made out of? You're walking by recognizing the energy of the tree that you're passing by, the flower that you're passing by, the ocean that its waves are going back and forth. Same energy flows into you, and the conflux of it all makes you feel alive and not lonely. Not the physical shapes that you're encountering and interacting with. Hopefully that will give you a little bit different perspective. Why you're not alone. You're not lonely, ever. Depends on if you open your eyes and understand what has surrounded you, what has conflux with you. And that is not all there is to you. All right. Aaron says, hey, sir. Aaron, 20 from New Zealand. Ah, kia ora. Says, how should I deal with unnecessary OCD? which OCD is necessary? Which unnecessary OCD doubts in my life? It's a big topic. I don't know if I can end it here. It says, I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, and I always get these negative doubt regarding my business success and life. Yeah, you're worried about making a mistake, losing your money, doubting when doubt is not necessary. But the only time that there's no doubt about something is when you have accomplished it already. You can't wait until you accomplish something to stop doubting. Because if you doubt, you will never accomplish. And if you don't accomplish, you cannot stop doubting. That's how you think. And if that's the case, you will never get anywhere, because the doubting is not the conclusion of your activities. The doubting is not the doubting is not part of truth of your activities. The doubting is a disorder that we all have, but it's a natural mechanism of carefulness, that we so much want something to happen or not to happen. It's based on our fears of things not going our way, failure, rejection. These are things we don't want. And the fear of it makes us feel that if I don't try, I won't fail. And for the fear of failing, I won't even try, which is the actual failing. As Wayne Gretzky said, I've never missed a shot that I never took. So if you never try for something because you're doubting, you'll never accomplish something where you think that is where there is no doubt. How can you be where there is no doubt if you never accomplish and try what could lead to an accomplishment where there is no doubt? Doubt is part of the excitement that we have in order to succeed and in order to avoid any failure. So, in a way, doubting is not a bad thing, but the way you look at it is as if it should act as your motivation or not. And you look at it that way, then you become fearful and thinking doubting means something. Doubting means that you're afraid of failure. You want it to really work. It doesn't mean that because you doubt it, and your brain knows a lot more than you do, therefore you must not even try. Doubting is in every try. The Wright brothers, when they invented aeroplane, flying machine they were calling it, they didn't know if it's going to work or not. So what if they never tried? Because they doubted. I doubt if it's going to work, brother. He says, no, let's try it anyhow. He says, no, why? I doubt it. This doubt is a curse of our life. We try many things, and many things we don't try just because there was a doubt. Not because it couldn't be possible. We doubt it. But we doubt everything because we are by nature lazy. We're afraid of not being in that psychological security environment, a mode. We're always looking for psychological security. And when the doubt shows up, it signals you that there could be disturbance. And I don't want disturbance. It's like saying, oh, there are waves in the ocean. Then let's don't get on the boat and go home to our island there. There's waves. So there's always going to be waves. You got to learn how to keep your balance in the boat. You got to learn how to keep rowing even though if there are waves. That's how you become an experienced captain. Doubting is a way to make you better. You doubt it, find other solutions that would help you to see there are solutions to go around this possible glitch that makes you doubt. Think it better, plan better. When you plan better, you will stop doubting. And there's an element of risk in almost every business. You can't think that this is a sure thing, whatever product or merchandise you want to promote and market. But nevertheless, that's what you came up with as an idea to make ends meet. So you got to do your best. You will know if it was a right decision or not when you actually have done your best, provided that the project is a reasonable, attainable project, not a stupid one. So doubting is part of success. Doubting is part of life. Now, these OCD doubting is all what OCD is. You're not supposed to pay attention to what suggestion comes to your brain. You're supposed to pay attention to the logic of the suggestions. If it's logical, helpful, you use it. If it's not, you disregard it and go on. You can't stop your life because you doubt it. There are lots of things you doubt. Should I become an engineer? No. Should I become a bus driver? No. Should I take the exam or not? I doubt it if I can pass it, but you're going to try anyhow. It's not going to kill you. So, I hope it was somewhat of a conversation for you, help you to make up your mind. You can't expect in life that there would be no negative thoughts about whatever you are embarking to accomplish, and then I will do it because there's no doubt. No, this doubt is part of the intrusive thoughts, and it's part of our state of lack of security. And so let it be. It's part of your alarm system, just to be more precise. It's okay. Treat it that way. M. Abdullah says, male 19 India says, hi, Meran. I want to ask if HOCD thoughts can trigger arousal in the beginning. I had only pictures and thoughts in mind, but now when I'm around specific friend, it causes erection. Okay. So what does it have to do with your preference? It's erection. It's a mechanical thing. Don't you get erection when you touch yourself? What does that mean? You want to fuck yourself? Or you in love with yourself? No, it's just by touch, and you get an erection. Or if you're close to a flower, you may see a flower, but the brain could associate it with a date, and you're taking flower for her without you even noticing what his association is, but it eventually associates with the concept of sex, and you get arousal. Does that mean you want to fuck the flower? There are lots of things that anxiety and the idea of someone's good looks or someone's energy level makes you feel comfortable, gives you that happiness and that dopamine, and then suddenly the brain carries that association of the feel good dopamine to feel good sexual experiences, and suddenly gives you an arousal, and you can attribute it to the actual inclination toward this same gender, but it wasn't. It was just the feeling of psychological security, the comfort, whatever it caused it. It has nothing to do with it. Because if it did, you wouldn't even ask this question. But there's a contradiction between your awareness of who you are and what the brain has caused the body react in the form of arousal and erection. And now you're saying, what the fuck? That itself is an awareness that tells you when there is an awareness, it's only when there is a contradiction. And when there's a contradiction that you notice, that means you're not what the brain is suggesting or implying. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any awareness of such contradictions. I think that should answer your question. And Stephen Lowe is here. Says, Stephen Lowe just disappeared. Says, good afternoon, Meran. Stephen Mail 41, Los Angeles, says, I listened to your email before going to work yesterday morning. You mean the voice recording that I sent you, not the email, right? I didn't write anything. Before going to work morning. It helped. They hired 9 of us, and I think we're all feeling a little nervous and overwhelmed a bit. One of the new hires in our group quit yesterday. I really want this to work out. I'm sure if I give it some time, it will. Of course it will. What's wrong with you? Imagine this. You come from an industry of similarity. You are an expert in your field. You have a solid background in understanding why you're there and the whole service of it. And now you're in a higher echelon of this humane service-oriented industry. Well, just like anything else, you're riding a bicycle, now you change to a sophisticated computerized motorcycle. You may be overwhelmed and a little intimidated, but if you hang in there, just as you became an expert in that, you will become an expert in this. You were not an expert in the first day that you joined that first in the other work that you were doing, were you? You still had some, fearful, anxiety feelings, overwhelming, and it took a while. But because it was maybe simpler, it was a shorter while and less of an anxiety. Now that is a more of a echelon of a job in this industry, it may be a little bit overwhelming, but hang tight. Just focus on your effort. Don't focus on when am I going to feel comfortable. Don't. Focus on what am I going to learn today. And what are the things I should watch for in order to do my best in today's task? That's all. Do not worry about when this is going to go away. When will I be accepted as a equal colleague among these other, uh, you know, senior employees? None of that shit. Just focus on the fact that I have a great opportunity. I am hired and I have a solid background and I can learn this as I learned anything else. They hire you guys based on your learning ability and the background that is similar or helpful to the new job that they're hiring you for. They're not hiring you that you're an expert in the job that you're about to do. They're hiring you because you have the aptitude and you're poised to learn the things they want to teach you. So you have that. You're hired. On that basis, have faith in yourself and then give yourself a chance and total focus on what they're teaching you and only focus on the best efforts they can put on that particular day and nothing further than that. In time, you will see that all that you were worried about, first of all, has gone away because your expertise has overcome it all. Nothing is overwhelming anymore. And there's support system available. If it's something you don't understand, you're still going to go figure it out because there's a department and there's people with more experiences. So the support is there. So there's nothing to worry about there, even when you become an expert. And at the moment, you don't need to worry about anything else. The fact is that you're already qualified. That's why they hired you. They're not stupid people. They hired you because you were qualified. That the rest of it is that their assessment of you is that you're qualified. Now, if you don't want to be qualified, that's up to you. If you don't want to hack it and don't challenge yourself and focus on the effort and not the outcome and not the conclusion, not when, and impatience and all these things that you've experienced that in your life in different facets, and be patient and focus on doing your best, well, then you have no hope. But if you do, it's easy as pie. Have faith in yourself, not just by fucking words. Have faith in myself. Bullshit. Put it into work by day focusing on your efforts and not who's going to look at me as what. Am I worthy of it? Did they give me the kudos? Am I having a good image? No, just do the goddamn work. Just focus on the effort. The best of what you can do with what you've learned and what you know on that day. That's all. You do that. You do that for 365 days. I'll tell you what's going to be overwhelming. Nothing. You're going to be master of your industry. You feel great. And it's worth it. Be patient. Be patient. You want a good thing, you got to be patient and continuously sustain the effort. Keep on putting the effort. Sometimes you know the path to get something good. But if you don't have the patience and continuously continue the effort, you may not get what benefits you will receive from it, even though you know the path is correct. As simple as that. You know, that commercial that child with his glasses on and has the French fries and the ketchup, and he's just reading his book and holding the ketchup, and it's not coming. He knows the path. The head of the ketchup is aimed to the French fries. That's correct. There's ketchup in here. That's correct. Now, the fact is not coming out is not because the path is wrong, the direction is wrong, there is no ketchup. It's because he needs to apply patience, constant continuation, sustaining the effort. He will eventually drop. And that's when the whole ball game starts. French fries will have the ketchup on. So hold it. Don't give up. Sustain the effort. Patience is one of the ingredients that when you find the path and you find the mind of the goal, you can't just, find it. So where is it? I can't see it, so I got to go. No, you got to dig now and dig now and dig again and dig again and continuously sustain the digging. Patience, because it's there. You just got to continue digging. Same thing. Go dig. Don't worry about the gold. Just dig. All right. Lucas, 25, France, mail. Ah, bonjour, monsieur. Comment ça va aujourd'hui? So let's see what Lucas says. Says, Meran, if that's not indiscreet, are there videos where you talk a bit about yourself, your life, views on life? My views on life and everything is in these questions. You can get to know me about who I am, what I think, what my consciousness is all about to a certain point in this venue based on the questions that are asked and how I respond to them. That tells you about me. Hmm? But some aspects of my life was questioned, like was asked, requested information, such as my relationship with the picture here. So that was part of my life about equestrian and training horses and all that. I don't believe I have extensively talked about myself because I don't think really that's important. People don't come here to listen to what my life has been. They're here with certain kind of questions to make their life a little bit more understandable. So there might be some, I don't know, maybe just put the words like about or life or Mehran or about me or something like that. See if there's anything. I don't remember if I've done anything or not, but in some ways, maybe. Thank you for asking. Maybe someday, if I eventually get this channel going to the point that would dedicate my more of my life to it, and it will give me enough time and resources to do a biography of myself, if that would be of interest to anyone, I would. Because, to be frank, I do think there are a thing or two that I could share throughout the story and history of my life, but it's not the place nor the time. Again, thank you for asking. SUBC says, obviously, I would never hurt. Who's that? Is that the first one? Okay, maybe I go to Mibunix because I missed that after Stephen. Mibunix says, male 29 UK. Says, one of two. Says, hi, with a smiley. Says, thanks to your channel and videos, I have a healthy relationship with women now when I'm dating, etc. I can let go easily, but I'm struggling with money greed and always wanting more. Two of two says, even if if I earn enough and I'm actually a minimalist, so not after physical passionate, so not after physical possessions. I can't stop thinking about missed money. Oh yeah, opportunities, money greed, etc. How to heal money relationship. I don't know what industry you're in. You must probably be on a commission basis of some kind or an entrepreneurial ship. You're not based on salary. You're not working for a company in a way that it's a set amount of money. That's why your income is based on the sales calls or results for what you provide as a service to each client. Maybe you're in real estate, or maybe you're in selling some kind of machinery or whatever it is that you're selling, or a pencil, who knows. And your consciousness have been trained to look at every individual as a possibility of money for sure, rather than thinking about every individual that calls on yours there is not money. But when you think of them as money, When it doesn't work, you think you lost money. It was never money. It was a person asking a question or interested in something, or you were able to bring the interest of this product that you're selling or service, or you weren't. That's all. But to begin with thinking of them as all being money, like instead of thinking about, you know, if a person asks a question about real estate and you're in real estate industry thinking, oh, that's money. So now that he's not buying, I lost money. Stop thinking about opportunities as money. Think about the opportunities as an opportunity to offer your services and see if that could have a chance to be translated into money. Don't give it the echelon of money just because they asked you a question about your business or they happen to be a lead of some kind. Change the translation definition of a client from money to a possibility to help. That's all. You want to help people. Otherwise, everyone who asks you a question and says, thank you very much, you say, oh, shit, I lost money. You feel like you lost money by helping people. Now, I want you to think by helping people, you gain that what you want to accomplish, helping people. You know how many thousands of people, literally, by writing or uh, uh, pro bono kind of discussions when I started my channel. I didn't care about money. My whole purpose wasn't money at all. I wanted to bring pain down people that I knew, especially younger people, suffering in their relationships, in their breakups. They're hurting, they're crying. So I spent hours no fees, especially with people. Anybody reached out to me from all over the world in Scotland. I talked to them for hours. I wasn't charging them. People knew that I could help them with something, so they would just Skype, email, and get my Skype. They needed help. That's why the channel is as small as it is, but it has a reputation that they're supporting you, and the guy is not a money. Other than the regular appropriate ways of promoting the channel, I'm not focused on money. That's why I'm not making much. but, but the purpose of your service should be your motivation. The purpose is what that's how it's done. So when I eventually wanted to spend more time, then I have to cut out my other business, which was the money. I can be good at it. But I wanted to feed humans, help the world, humans, think, and something that's everything I started finding researchers. So that was my motivation. So I was here. I could cut out on the one that was making the money because economics are important. You gotta have to do that. So the lifestyle of the company. Other business would be mindset. But then when I fell in love with what I was doing, time I become, then I had to cut that one up. Then I had to cut that one up. Then I had to make money out of this. So then I had to make the site. Be a little bit more professional about it in the way of it should be the humans. Otherwise, it's humanly impossible to be able to sustain what I can offer. So if you want to meet your needs, So I have never had that my psyche because I thought that's stupid. This is make an appointment. And yeah, they have to pay for it. But I'm not going to convince anyone to pay for it or to go and so on, other than referring you to it if I can't simply handle here. So I just always have said recently that there are certain questions here I cannot go further than a few minutes. And if it's a forum that you don't want to be publicly talking about it, or it's not enough the answers that I give you, then you can always go to my site. Now there's comes a plug, www.mindthatseeksthetruth.com, and make an appointment and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. That's my promotion. But it is a called in promotion. But I don't think anyone has money. Many people on daily basis have questions and they send me questions and comments and emails. And if I have the time, I answer them. I don't consider that, oh, if I answer this question, then there's not going to be an appointment. So I shouldn't answer it. No, I answer everybody. Unless it's too big of a question back and forth. So, okay, that's enough. I can't go 100 times back and forth. I'm writing all the time. I don't want to do that. So then you got to go and make an appointment and then we'll discuss it. And I'm generous in my time, again, because I want to help people. Yes, economic benefits are important. That's how we can survive it and sustain the service. But if you're not focused on the money and focused on helping people, the money will come. And you love what you're doing, then your quality of your work will go up. You feel how to help people. You can see in all my responses, there is no money here. There is no money exchanging hands. They're all based on the fact that I'm interested for you guys to resolve certain pains and challenges. Now, the ones who actually want further, they can go and make an appointment. But this and many other efforts, it's all focused on the merits of what is it that I want to accomplish. But you can't forget the economics of life. You must not worry about losing a client. You must not think of clients as money, but you cannot constantly offer your services for free either. So have a happy medium. If a client comes in, don't think of them as money. Think about to helping them. If they don't happen to continue and go, don't think you lost money. Just think that it wasn't qualified. And you just simply go on with the next. Don't lose your motivation. The motivation is to help people. And yes, you must make money. So don't do it for free if you can. But don't think that every call that doesn't turn into a business transaction was a wasted call. It's part of life. Hmm? There's a saying in Farsi, in my mother tongue language, says, you do good and throw it in the river, and the river will give it back to you someday without you expecting it. So, in other words, just do good unto people. Hmm? That will come back. But don't do it because it will come back. Just do it. Just do it. Just like watering the flowers, and they're not your flowers, watering the earth. And it's not, we have an expression in, again, when I was growing up, every time in school we had a little bit of a water, I noticed people, friends, and then it was apparently cultural custom that they would always throw a bit of water out of their cup on the ground. I didn't understand, so why do you do that? Then I learned it means we just give water to the ground, the Mother Earth. Maybe something grows. Or maybe it needs, if I'm thirsty, it needs water too. It was a good kind of a analogy that it stemmed from being generous. Yeah, there's promotion of being generous. So be generous in your work, then you won't focus on money. Be generous, be helpful. I spend a lot more time that I don't make money off of it on people and helping them than the ones that I do. All day long I'm answering questions and so on. There's no money in it, but makes you feel good. Somebody's pain was helped out. Don't worry about money. Do what you got to do. Advertise, do whatever you got to do, make your calls and all these, and don't do it for free if you don't have to. But don't worry about every service that you give. Oh, or it didn't work. Oh, I lost the opportunity for money. Yeah, you become an asshole. And imagine if that will leach into the other aspects of your life. You have a girlfriend and she wants to buy something, you're going to be stingy. You're going to be just a stupid man who's expecting, changing everything for money. You don't enjoy anything anymore. Money is for you to spend it to enjoy, but you're not supposed to be slave of money. It's good to make it. Yeah, we all need money. As the more, the better. But then it makes you become a person that you were never. You go to a restaurant, you expect your woman to pay. Why? Because it's a new world now. So why not? Well, why the fuck do you go out with her then? Are you the man or not? If you think about money and penny pinching, where is it gonna stop? You won't buy flour for her anymore. You don't take her to a good restaurant. Hmm? You don't open the door for her because you just want to be. Oh, what about the new world? They don't expect that. Doesn't matter what they expect. You do what you got to do. Same thing. Doesn't matter if others consider clients as money and so on. Don't be greedy. You do what is right to do. And what is right to do is just do good. Anyhow, exhausted the topic. Okay, Lucas. Oh, we talked about that. Whose question was it? Uh-huh. That was Mubonix. Uh, TJ says, how do you deal with racing thoughts pulling you in different directions? How do you focus and get things done efficiently? How do you deal with a storm when you're walking toward your work or doing something in the street? There's a wind coming this way, wind coming that way, rain coming this way, and pushing you this way, and you kind of got to hold. What do you do? You go where the rain and the wind pushes you, or you try to keep focus on the road and the direction you were going, because that's where it's going to take you where you wanted to do your business. That's what you do, don't you? You resist and you try to focus on where you go. So use these forces of wind and rain and other winds from different directions. You just keep it all balanced so you can continue on your path. Same thing here. All these thoughts that are bombarding you, they're there. They're not your responsibility. So what do? You don't pay attention to this to decimate this and destroy that and then that. No. Instead, you just keep focus on the one that you have chosen that is beneficial or is going to serve your purpose. That's how you continue, despite of all these distractions. Um, SUBC, Subsea, says obviously it's not the first part of your question. Where's the other one? Because obviously I don't want to hurt her, so there must be a first one. Says obviously I would never hurt her, but she believes her thoughts more than logic, me and what her doctor and therapist tells her. She remembers the dream and believes that the dream is real because her thoughts keeps telling her that it did. It's a really weird situation for me and her. She never accused me of this before. She has been raped in the past for real, but the rapist is in jail now. So I and her doctor think this is just a way for her to cope with the trauma. Since she cannot blame the rapist anymore, she subconsciously blames me. Sorry for long. Yeah, but where's the first part of the question, dear? What is the question? Sub C, help me out here. I don't know where the question is and where's the first part of the question. So if you don't mind, I'll go to the next. Just Mike says, hi, Meron, male 33, Germany. Hello there. Says, before I met my ex fiancee 5 years ago, I was independent, had my own place, and despite it being stressful, made decent money in engineering. After 1.5 years, we wanted to move in together. However, she wasn't ready to move out of her parents' house at age 33. Ooh. So I decided to give up on my independence and move in with her. Oh my goodness. What's wrong with you? Give up my independence and move in with her in her parents' house, mostly out of fear of losing her again. I mean, if the flying was easy for unvaccinated, I would take my ugly stick, which is right here, always at service, and come to Germany and break this on your head. Hopefully, you'll have your motorcycle helmet on so it won't be damaged. Because this is nonsense what you've done. That girl is not worth doing anything for. If at age 33 she's still living at her parents by choice, and when she's in love and wants to get married to a man, or at least at that point they wanted to move in together, she can't even move to the house that you independently have, and she expects you to move in with her parents. This is the kind of an independent woman that you're going to bring into what, mother your children, to be your wife, to help, to be your support, hmm? Confidant, advisor, helper, cooperate with you, partner. What partner? She can't fucking move out of the parents' umbrella of safety at age 33. That's not a woman. It's a child. So that was a mistake, and I hope you moved out. Says we wanted to move in together. She wasn't ready for it. I decided to give up my independence and move in with her in her parents' house, mostly out of fear of losing her. Losing what? Like you found a gold nugget? I started experiencing depression due to permanent stress in my professional life and issues with our relationship, of course. Even though she promised to move with me, what the hell? Why do you move in and then get a promise for her to move out when she didn't want to do it at the beginning because of her own shortcomings and lack of independence? She can't be a helpful partner. She's not going to pull her weight. And she promised to move with me to some independent place. She had no real plans of ever moving out, even though we both wanted kids and create our own family. When she realized I no longer wanted to live in her parents' house and wanted true independence for our own family, She broke up with me 3 months after engagement and canceled our fully planned wedding. I decided not to break that on your head. I prefer to. I can't say that. You figure it out. And says, she canceled a fully planned wedding. Is what is that some sort of narcissistic future faking I experienced with that? Who gives a shit what you experience? You just be lucky that you're out of that. I mean, somehow, despite of your stupidity, and I say that with love, universe helped you and created a situation that you wouldn't go through that nonsense. And the wedding was off, and thank God, because that would have been a disaster the whole life of yours. If a woman at the outset of the love and lovey-doveyness of the relationship cannot make sacrifices that are simply not sacrifices, they're opportunities that are actually due and called for, she's not someone to count on. She's going to jump ship the first chance that she gets when there is going to be a tough situation in life. You are lucky that you cannot even, I mean, beyond your understanding, that you didn't have the balls to do what you were supposed to do, and the universe decided that for you. So now go celebrate. Go celebrate, and it doesn't matter if it's narcissistic or not. Let's don't focus on what it is on her side. Let's focus what it is on your side. Simply misjudgment, overzealousness for some pleasurable experience, and stupidity, sheer stupidity, and lack of proper judgment to give up everything just to be with the woman. Or everything that strips you out of the manhood that you have, and turn her into your support. Hanging on some support, um, whatever the word is. Support bullshit. Okay, now, when was that? 5 years ago? So are you out of it or what? Don't tell me you're sitting and crying. I'm going to slap you in the face a few times. I'm getting very violent today, so let me have some tea. When you guys learn that you should treat yourself well in this life and stop treating pleasure as a solution to the challenges of your life. Pleasure is not a solution. I don't know, I've done something in the gym that is, I guess I did too much a few days ago. It's kind of giving me a little bit of a. Okay. Stuart Sue says, Stuart, male, 30, YO, Cyprus. What is YO? Oh, 30 young. Male, 30, young, Cyprus. After, oh, years old. Okay. Stuart, male, 30 years old, Cyprus. After watching your videos on playlists, I find my real problem, who my 3 therapists. Okay. Stuart, male, 30 years old, Cyprus. After watching your videos on playlist, I find my real problem, who my 3 therapists not find it. You tell that caudate nucleus, who is connected with brain, have malfunctions and causes intrusive OCD thoughts. I suffer from these. I can't be present because mind wandering and emotions. Can you suggest something to me, please? I'm sorry, Stuart. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychotherapist. My research is independent, based on the scholars' work of hundreds of years ago, and based on my research on neuroscience and experiences that the famous neurosurgeons have done, and I am able to put the information and deliver it in a certain digestible way. And if you wish to discuss that particular challenge, I'm more than happy to chat with you, but that won't be here today in this forum. You can go on my site, www.mindthattseekstruth.com. Make an appointment, and usually for new clients, if they make a 1 hour appointment, I will throw in another 30 minutes on me. So we'll have an hour and a half at least. And we can discuss what's concerning you one on one on Skype. Carla says, Carla Schmida Velasta says, hello from Germany too. Hello, Carla. Wie geht's heute dir? Geht's gut, I hope. And I don't know if you guys are still here when I get to your questions, but Carla, don't forget to let me know the credentials, age, and I know the Germany, so I know my demographics. Liron Koren says, hello, how to keep loving yourself after so many rejections? What else is there to love? If you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else? What are you offering to someone else that you love if you don't love yourself? So you're offering them something that you don't love? How unreasonable and selfish that is. It's like saying, there's a piece of bread or sandwich that is spoiled and I don't want to eat it, but I'm going to give it to someone that I love. If it's not good for you, it's not good for somebody else. And if you think you're capable of being a solution to someone's life by giving attention and love and so on, then that naturally means you love yourself, and you should focus on the fact that you are very valuable. Why? Because you can give love. People are searching for love. If you can give love, that means you are valuable. There's all the reason in the world for you to love yourself. How can you better yourself if you don't love yourself? How can you teach yourself? How can you learn things if you don't love yourself? You want to better yourself, advance yourself because you care about yourself. You love yourself. Everything you do in life is for you. How could you do things, so many things, all these things for someone that you don't love? It's impossible. You do love yourself. Absolutely. That's why you have tea. That's why you have breakfast. That's why you go to work. That's why you make money. That's why you have good food. That's why you do all these things. You get fun. You do fun things because it's all for you. And you do all these things because you love yourself. You wouldn't do anything for anyone that you don't love. Do you do anything for anyone that you don't love? Anything special? So how could you think that you will be doing all these special things for someone that you don't love? Of course you love yourself. This always end up with a good first date, good energies, kiss. Second date, usually it's done. Thank you for your helpful videos and contribution. Well, because you go on a date and you're dating the image of that person that they've created in your mind. But you got to go on a date with the hope of getting to know that person, not getting pleasure from that person. If you get to know that person, with the shortcomings and qualifications, then you have a good assessment of what that person is, all his or her side, depending on what your inclination is. So before you consider the date as solution to your life, consider the date as an opportunity to get to know the qualities that other person possesses or lack thereof, and assess if that is something that is resonates with you or not. Then you can proceed to the kissing. Otherwise, kissing is not an evidence that you guys are compatible. Kissing is a biological thing that you see someone that you think, it meets your standards, aesthetic standards, and turns you on one way or another. Then you may biologically have a reaction to it. But that doesn't mean that he's a good person. I mean, for heaven's sake, we men, I'm sure it's the same or somewhat the same for women. We see a beautiful woman out there, even in the movies, all dude up and gorgeous and fit. We wouldn't mind kissing her, holding her, loving her, lusting for her. That's the biological reaction. But we don't know who she is. What makes her tick up here? She could be a terrible person. So the physical beauty and attraction, and considering that woman, you know, qualified for intimacy or exciting, that doesn't mean anything about the very person that is you're getting to know. You got to know what the engine is like, not the body. The body of a car could be really well designed, but the engine could not start, could not go, stall, the brake doesn't work, acceleration doesn't work, signals don't work. The engine is no good. So you can't rely on the body, but while the body will attract you to go toward the car and sit in it and just see how it works, or want to buy it, or want to, drive it, or get to know it, or whatever, the analogy could be. So it's the same thing. When you like a guy, you don't know who he is. So you go on a date, you say all your first dates are good and always nice and good energies and kiss and all that. Okay, yeah, of course. Show me a guy who, if you're taking good care of yourself, you're fit or good looking or something, show me a guy that doesn't want to kiss you. But that doesn't mean he's a good person, or doesn't mean that he's really interested in you. He's interested in the reaction of the physical biology of him towards you. And he's programmed to that. The fact that he wants to kiss you is not necessarily making you as a person special. It just means you're beautiful enough, sexy enough, you turn him on, and he has no control over it. He desires to kiss you. That's the blessings that you have. But the rest of it that works or doesn't work is based on the bonding on the consciousness level, which takes time for you guys to know each other. And if you expect your date to be perfect in every way, or the date expects you to be perfect in every way, well, that's a futile assumption. Nobody is. We all have shortcomings. But because you're infatuated with someone in some way, that doesn't mean that that person is going to meet your standards or the image you've made out of that person in your mind. Because after all, he's a human being. He's got all kinds of sides. So you got to get to know all the sides of that person before you consider that kiss really meant more than a physical attraction, which we're all programmed toward our opposite sex. If you're a heterosexual male or female, you're already programmed to react in a certain way towards someone that you're dating. And that reaction, physical reaction, is not representation or defining you or each other to each other. It's just a reaction, physical reaction. But that's the way it works. There's an opportunity for you now to endure the differences and learn and see if you can digest and manage these characteristics or differences even. You know? So Astley Weatherborn says, any advice on how should deal with this situation? Which situation? Oh, okay. Okay, there's another one. Says, hi, Mehran, male 30, London. I have got on really well with a woman for the past 10 months. However, I called her one evening and she declined my call. I was a bit perturbed by her action. She didn't even send an apology. I texted her that her action was very immature as she ghosted me for an unknown reason. Her behavior just seemed out of character. Any advice on how I should deal with this situation? Why should you deal with this situation? She's not cordial enough to respond to a 10-month-old relationship and she declines your text. That's cowardly in honesty, communicating what she does or does not like or prefers at this moment. Maybe she's chosen someone else or interested in someone else. But these are lack of ability to communicate. She's entitled to change her mind and she's entitled to make her choices. So are you. But if you guys are in a relationship or certain friendship and she wants to decline and move on to someone else, another choice, well, that's fine. But she needs to be able to communicate. And if she doesn't, that's not a reflection on you that you have to manage or deal with it. It's a reflection. The problem with most of you men, or us men, is that when a woman rejects you or ghosts you or declines you or blocks you, you think the source of pleasure, the whole concept of sexuality and relationship, partnership, and the whole source of pleasure has rejected you. It didn't. One woman, one person, for her own stupid reasons or lack of class or manners or lack of ability to communicate with a 10-month-old friend, has caused this. That is not representation of all women. That is not representation of the pleasure as a concept. That is not a representation of sexual intimacy as a concept. That is not a rejection by a concept, is a rejection by a person. But we men consider every woman a representation of the concept of pleasure, sexuality, acceptance, and affirmation. No, just because she's beautiful or turns you on doesn't mean she's a great understanding or wise of the world. She could be an asshole, just as idiot as all other people have the chance to be or not to be. Why is it that you guys think just because someone is pretty is also qualified and smart and intelligent and credible and something to die for? Sexually, maybe that is how you're programmed and wired up. But as a human being, you cannot consider and judge her and grade her or qualify her based on how hot she is. So right now that she has supposedly rejected your call, it's not an indication that you're rejected. It's an indication she's ill-mannered. And there's nothing for you to deal with. It's the best thing for you is to move on and consider her someone that is not balanced. Because the least you expect, or the most you expect, would be someone who would say, "Hi, how are you? Listen, I met someone else, and look, it was great, but I prefer to move on." It's the coldest way you can be, and that's fine. That's her prerogative. It's everybody's right. Because who's the most important person in your life? You are. And so she is the most important person to her life. She's doing what she's doing for her own satisfaction and pleasure and preferences. So when she decides that, that's fine. But the way to communicate that with you is not by blocking you or declining call. That's a stupidity. That also tells you she's an idiot. So you got to be assertive. And she calls, you call, and picks up, and she says, "Sorry, dear, it was lovely, but," or she meets you, whatever. She tells you, or informs you that this relationship is no longer together, is no longer sustainable, or no longer she's interested in it. That's it. And that's fine. If she did that, you wouldn't, have a question, would you? But now you're using this as a excuse to have a question. Why do you want to have a question? Move on. If she can move on, you can move on. If she's not interested in you, why should you be interested in someone who's not interested in you? Why? What is there something you have to manage? What's there to manage? She changed her mind. Good riddance. Why do you want to be with someone who changes her mind after having been with you? Hmm? All right. Bobo Xi. Oh, Ashley says, I even helped her or was there for her when she was going through a difficult situation in her life. That tells you even more what an idiot she is, or ill mannered, low class, or coward. It never hurts to be cordial. If the woman told you that she's no longer interested in you, and you still persisted, then she can cut you off and she can block you and she can decline your call, because that's perfectly fine. Because she's already told you, meaning, okay, I'm not interested anymore. But if she hasn't and she behaves, well, why do you even ask? I even helped her. So what? It doesn't reflect on you. You helped her. That means it's a reflection on you. What a person, careful and caring person you are. The fact that she doesn't consider that as an important qualification to continue relationship with you, again, that's not something that you should have expected. You do good things for people, you do, but she still can't change her mind. Simple. You have no claim on her, and she has no claim on you either, but she was not able to communicate that with you, and that's her problem. This way of communicating this is a reflection on her and her shortcomings, and just tells you she's not something to worry about because she didn't have the courtesy of simply telling it to your face. After she tells you in your face and you still continue, then she can block you or do whatever else. Okay. Boboxi says, hi, M42, male 42, Europe, Croatia. Says, I can't forget my ex. Not you can't, you don't want to. Otherwise, you can't. My ex because we have kids together. Okay, I stand corrected. I didn't read the rest of it. It says, every week when kids are with me, they talk, first of all, okay, they talk what they did with my ex. I remember happy moments with her. How to stop? I see. How to stop? I think there is a technical problem with your mic. Is there? Can you guys not hear me? Give me a feedback, guys. Can you hear me? Yes, no, maybe. Am I talking to myself? Why is only one person says that there's a problem with the mic? The rest of you. Could you kindly tell me, do you hear me or not? Is the quality okay or not? Don't all of you answer at the same time, one at a time. Come on, give me the feedback. Michael says, I can hear you. Okay. Bobo says it's now okay. Okay. So, Bobo, maybe you have wax in your ears. Clean it up. All right. Okay. Is that better? I hope it is. So let me know, guys, as soon as you don't hear me, let me know. And Mango says it's also okay. All right. We go for that. So, where were we? Uh-huh. So the memories and the ex-wife and all that. Excellent. So what is it that you think you should do? The reality of life is this. She's separated with you and she's still being the way she should be and she was with the kids. And that's what you should be happy that she's keeping proper connections and behavior towards the children. And you continue doing the same things you were doing with the children when you guys were all together as a family. Stop wondering why you're not benefiting from that same environment or interaction with her and focus on the fact that what you should be doing to be the best father you can be to your children. And the fact that she's doing her best for her children, that's fine. Yeah, you miss her, why not? Of course, you have two children with her and you're going to miss her. But the question is, if she can move on, definitely you can too. Why should you be interested in someone who can move on and be able to be fine without you? Why should you not be able to move on? Do you love yourself less than she loves herself? When you limit your happiness to an approval of a woman towards you, then you limit the chances of your happiness based on the whims or the judgment of another. That is when you actually start not enjoying your life because you have allowed somebody else draw the picture of your happiness. You have given the brush of your happiness, the picture of your happiness on a canvas to someone else. She can be happy or not happy on her own accord. Why do you have to suffer because you consider her approval to be the basis and foundation of your happiness? Why? Somehow you have been sold the bill. We all men have been sold the bill that a woman's approval is everything rather than judging if that approval that is not given to you is a reflection on the quality of her consciousness, not on you. Because if you're a good, decent man, a good person, always good to your wife or girlfriend, and she doesn't reciprocate or appreciate, that's not supposed to make you unhappy. That's supposed to tell you that she's not someone that deserves your attention. So if she can move on despite of it, that you're such a person, such a good person, why would you be interested in someone who's not interested in such a good person as you are? And why should you even interrupt your relationship with your children as it should be because you can't enjoy the connection that you had with your ex. Just encourage her to continue being a good mother toward the children, and you be the best father you can be toward the children. And it doesn't matter if she likes you or not, because liking should be two-way street. If she doesn't like you, you should be able to cut it off too. Always ask your question: why should I like someone who doesn't like me? Why? And just because she is the mother of your children, that doesn't qualify her to still be on the top of the list of your favorite people in the world. She has different duties in life, one to be a good mother and one to be maybe a good girlfriend for you. If she can't be the girlfriend, well, separate it and be happy that she's a good mother. That's all. And your life is not going to be stopped because she likes you or doesn't like you. You still have the same opportunities and possibilities in this life to be loved and to give love and choose somebody else. And these kids going to grow up, and hopefully they're going to grow up under your supervision and their mom's supervision to be the best mother and father you can be, given the circumstances. And you're going to end up having wasted your life hoping and wishing that she would have come back to you. By the time these children are old enough on their own, you become old. And then it's going to be difficult to find someone who can tolerate you or grow with you. So stop being a sissy and pull your balls together, put your shoes on, put your best clothes on, go out and make money, and be open to opportunities and qualify other possible amazing women that are out there, and make a life for yourself. This whole experience of life is not summed up in one relationship. If that worked, great. If it worked for a while, beautiful. If you end up having children and didn't work out, well, you still got to be the best father you can be. And you still got to go on with another relationship with another amazing woman. So stop limiting this life and the opportunity that is offering you to one woman. Yeah, everything is summed up in that relationship between you and her. No, it's not. If she can change and she's no longer interested, then it's not a good partner to try to create an environment of happiness and love and exchange emotions. You got to do that with someone who's willing to reciprocate and be committed to it. The ones who jump from here and there like a sparrow when you guys have found each other, it's not worth spending time. She doesn't want to continue. She doesn't want to be with you. It's her prerogative. Then you shouldn't either. You move on and find another woman. Why do you expect her to do things that you like to do? Give her a chance to live her life the way she wants, but you don't have to be bound by liking her just because you want to give her the chance to do the things she likes in this journey of life. You move on as well. Wish her well, and you move on and respect yourself. Wish yourself well as well. Mango Media. Oh, no. This just Mike says, thank you very much, Meron. Greetings from Germany. Ah, my pleasure. Mango Media says 33 male USA. Where in USA? Says, I just met this amazing girl. Why is she amazing? Because she likes you and she's good looking. Yeah, well, that qualifies her to be amazing, that's for sure. I just met this amazing girl. Her biggest problem so far about me is I don't have my own place. I'm trying hard to get one, but it's been very hard. I want this to work. Any advice? Yeah, get your own place. If that's the condition, what the hell? Talk to her. Say, listen, you like me and I like you, and you want to in my own place, and I sure as hell think you deserve it, and you are my motivation to have my own place. I promise you, I will do everything in my powers to have my own place because I'm really fond of you. And that motivation will put a fire under my ass to do what I've always wanted to do a little sooner. Things are a little bit difficult right now or challenging, but I don't want you to lose hope because I promise to you, as a man to a woman, that you are my motivation. You're important enough for me that I would bring that to fruition as soon as possible, and I'm on it. So why don't you be patient with me, and I'll do my best. If she didn't go for that, then say bye-bye. Have a nice day. Because if someone is waiting for everything to be ready to walk into it, that's not your job. Your job is to do your best, but you also want someone who would be tolerant and reasonable and cooperative and also motivating and hopeful as you would be for her. Things don't always go right in life. Things don't always go comfortable in life. I remember I was in second grade, second or fourth grade in elementary school. And there was a celebration, and then the school in the, the amphitheater, the theater of the school, we had different episodes of, different writers and turning it into short performances. There was this scene that I was part of it. There were 4 kids. I was one of them as the actors for that scene. It was a story of life. Listen carefully, guys. This is actually quite important. I understood the meaning of it years after that day. Years when I was completely adult and going through life. So the scene was this. The curtain will open up, and there is a actor, one of the guys, sitting on the throne and have a certain kind of I think, one of these things that they get, what's the word? The kings put on their heads, and was representing life. Life. And then the fortunate man came on stage. The fortunate man went and kneeled in front of the king, the life, not the king, life. But before that, stood in front of life and said, as I remember it, life, you took me hundreds of steps up in life. I kneel in front of you for the grace that you've shown me, for the opportunities. So this fortunate man, the actor, kneels in front of life for these opportunities. Then he leaves the stage, and the unfortunate one comes in. The unfortunate one comes and stands in front of life and says, you, life, you took me hundreds of steps down, destroyed my life, and I was miserable. And I kneel in front of you. And he kneels. And he leaves. And here I come, as the fortunate and unfortunate man. 4th grade. It was a heavy thing for 4th grade, but here it was. I came in front of him, the life, and I said, you took me 100 steps up in life, and you also took me hundreds of steps down. You must kneel in front of me. Get it? That's the story of life. You make life to kneel in front of you, not you begging, crying, and moaning that I have to kneel and expect to comply. So things go up and down in life. Every time that goes down, she wants to turn out and turn back and move away somewhere else, or not to be helpful or supportive, cooperative. That's not a partner. If at this very moment that you guys have something in common, she expects things without actually partnering up with you and together giving yourselves chance to see and do your best to accomplish what it is that you want, but she wants you to be ready for her to enter, well, that's pretty much fucked up at the beginning. So tell her what we talked about, not about the theater, but about, you're my motivation, all that. She still didn't want it. Good ridden. Next. It's not something that you should say, oh, it's my lucky day, this girl likes me. No, there are going to be lots of girls like you, provided you move your ass and start accomplishing things. What the hell is wrong with you? 33 years old and you're still, have no place of yourself? What the fuck have you been doing? Now, let me be serious a little bit with you. 33 years old. Why is it you don't have your own place? How do you work? Where's your money? What do you do with it? At the same time, let's be fair. We talked about her and her shortcomings or reasonability. Let's talk about you. Well, a woman that you want to have a relationship with would want to see if you actually measure up to something. You're going to come up with something. What is she going to do? You come to your parents' home? Or you go to her parents' home? What's going to happen? She expects some things, at least. It's not like she's expecting you to have everything ready, as we talked about, because we don't know about her. But she's having a reasonable expectations that you, bloody hell, 33-year-old, you don't have a place on your own. Now you can ask her to be my support. I have a purpose now. I've been lacking that motivation, which is not a real good excuse, but that's the fact. So go get it. But communicate with her. Don't expect her to be so understanding. Why should she? I mean, she's that amazing woman. She at least wants you to have a decent place for yourself. Okay. Bobo. It's okay. Okay. And then we have 3X's. Hey, everyone. This is 3X's. Meran, thank you for videos. You're quite welcome. Come on, guys, promote the videos. This channel has got a lot to offer and lots of support and solutions for many day-to-day things. So do something. Come on. Don't just come and enjoying it. Consider this channel your own and promote it in your social media, whatever, however, chat rooms. Talk about it. Get the people to know that support exists. And Joe, I guess I call it Joe, or John. John, okay. Says, hello, my name is John, and I am 18 years old, and I am on a HOCD recovery, and I suddenly didn't feel anxiety when I got an intrusive thought. Why should you? The whole problem with this is that you guys get anxiety when you get intrusive thought, instead of thinking intrusive thought is a thought. I'm not supposed to get anxious or upset or, freak out about it. It's a thought. Why does it have to do with me? It's like I turned the TV on. There are all kinds of things on it. I should go, oh my goodness, that program was on. Well, change the channel. It doesn't define you just because the program was on. It doesn't tell you that you're this or that or interested in this and that just because that particular scene was on. It just means that scene is part of the things that could be found on a TV. and you change the channel or you focus on whatever it is, you just can't change the channel. Other people sitting in the room, you got to be on, do your own things. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that that's going to define you just because that kind of a program is on. Same thing with the brain. It makes thoughts, but when it makes thoughts, it doesn't define you. Why should you be anxious or whatever, a reaction? Oh, I have to have a reaction to show my dissatisfaction of this particular topic that showed up on my head. No, you don't have to do anything. Just understand and accept it. That is a thought. Thoughts can exist, all kind of them. I don't care what quality it is. They don't pertain me. They don't define me. They're just thoughts. Capiche? All right. And says, and when I got intrusive thoughts and I got scared, why is that? Well, you're not supposed to get scared. Why should you get scared? Once you understand thoughts are all kinds of them. So if that's the case, there are 80, 90,000 thoughts a day, all of them irrelevant to me. So I should be scared all day long. What's going on? No, not that thought. People are going to say, this is crazy. What is he scared about? There's nothing here. It's in your head. And those are nothing to be scared about. They're just thoughts, just like there are many things in the street and the stores that the products that they offer that you don't want to buy. So you're supposed to have a reaction and anxiety. I didn't want to buy this. Why is it here? Well, it's here. So pass by. That's how you look at it. You're not supposed to be having an emotional reaction to every thought just to make sure that, oh, you're not in agreement with that thought. No, you're not. You have your own values. So whatever thought shows up, that doesn't define you or your values. It just means there's a thought. Okay, so you just move on and focus on what it is that you're supposed to accomplish. That's it. Miguel Coronado says, bro, well, first of all, you need to let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. And this kind of a, this is not a question. I don't understand. Miguel, you want me to read your question? You let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. And Liano, and where? Miguel, where are you from? Liano Spahiu, I hope I didn't butcher the name, says, hello, I watch your videos every day, and you're such an inspiration, sir. Can I make a question? Of course, go ahead. Pretty soon we're going to end this because it's been very long now. I usually hold for 1 hour, but it's now about 3 hours. 2.5 hours now. So let me, while Leono, okay, Miguel says, I'm 22, male from Washington, D.C. And he says, bro, okay, you're 22, I'm 66, bro. Okay, it says, bro, I cheated on my ex and lied. I feel so bad. You should. So remorseful. Good. I want my ex back. Too bad. You fucked it up. What do? I already apologized and took responsibility. It's been 30 days, no contact. She told me she still loves me and made out with me during the breakup. She's the dumper. But what would you do if she had come to you and lied about, like she cheated and lied to you and you found out? But because you really loved her, you even kissed her when you were breaking up with her. What would you think about her? Your ego is shattered. You're disrespected. You think that she thinks that other guy that she slept with is better than you, and you are number two. You wouldn't have comfortable feeling about getting back with her, would you? So why is it that you expect a woman feeling any differently when you cheat on her, that she would actually find it what? Acceptable? What? Because what? You're a man, you got a dick to feed? What's your excuse? If you're in a committed relationship and you really value that woman, you better keep your pecker in your pants. When you let it out and don't think about it and let it do the thinking for you, then this is the fucking result, that you just jeopardize a good relationship. The good news is that you're 22 years old, and this is a lesson for you to learn that if you want to be in a committed relationship and you have a good woman with you in a relationship, you don't treat her this way. You honor her. You try to love her not because of her legs and body only, which is very important to every one of us, different way, men or women. They expect a certain fitness level and certain care and beauty from their partner. You know, that's fine. But you cannot sustain the love based on the physical aesthetics. You got to dig deeper and share things with her and find things about her likes and dislikes and preferences, challenges, fears, and lack or search for psychological security in her. And then you will see you love a person that you want to be committed to. And you wouldn't have the connection that you have with her with another girl to go and cheat on her. But at age 22, you're neither finding yourself in a real committed relationship at this age, nor should you. But you should have the courage and respect for her to first break up with her, then go with somebody else. I'm not saying that at age 22 you got to be committed to one woman and stay with her forever. But what I'm saying is that I realize you have a loose pecker at that age and you want to explore. But you must have respect for woman right from this age, if not earlier. Meaning you end the relationship with her first, then you go fuck around. You can't use a woman as an object. If you do, then however the woman treats you, you can't have a say in that, oh, I was mistreated. No. You disrespect a woman, then expect retaliation one way or another. Not necessarily purposely, but expect natural reactions. So you're young now, you apologized, and you learned your lesson, but what is it going to be in it for her when she comes back to you? How can she believe that at this age, when you actually loved her, you did this? What would stop you from doing it again? Nothing. Because this is the age that you're not ready for commitment or serious relationship. So might as well tell her that, look, I messed up, but that's my age. And I don't expect you to come back with me. But if we do, I want you to know that I might do the same thing. Unless you're sure, damn sure that you're not going to do it, as long as you're with her. And if you lose interest, you have a pact with each other that if we do lose interest, want to go with someone else, we first separate from each other. We first break up, and then we go and have a relationship with someone else. And if she accepts that, then fine. If she doesn't, well, she has all the rights. She's lost trust. But you learn from this, and it's not the end of the world. You made a mistake, but you learned from it, and you got your punishment. She left you, and you deserve it. And then don't do that next time with another girl. That's all I can say to her. Otherwise, there's no way to win her back just because. And Miguel says, no, I won't do it again. See, I won't or want. I don't understand. Says, I should have broken up with her. Yeah, you're right. I was too coward. Yeah, okay. Says, no, I won't do it again. Are you won't? It was so painful almost. I almost died, man, from the pain I caused her. I got suicide. Now, don't go overboard. Don't be stupid. Talk about suicidal and all that. Yeah, you're fucked up. Okay. It's not the end of the world, and you got your punishment. She gave you a fuck off, and that's what you deserve. But the rest of it, suicidal and all that, don't go stupid. And says, I won't do it again. I won't. Okay, then you go prove it to her. You know? I don't know. You want to try. But if she didn't accept, it's not the end of the world. Just lick your wounds and accept the lesson that you learned. You never do it again to another woman, ever. Women are precious. I don't care if they're good or bad. That is not your concern because you can break up with them. But you cannot be abusive to them in any way, shape, or form. You don't like them. You don't like how they treat you. You think they're an assholes. Break up with them. But do not abuse them physically or emotionally. That's your role as a man, as a gentleman, as a strong man, as an alpha. Alpha doesn't use woman. Strong doesn't use woman or misuse or abuse woman. Okay? Don't use people that you love. Now, you can go and buy flowers and goodies and whatever you think she likes and write a complete apology letter, express your emotions and feelings, genuine feelings, and your remorse, and say, I don't know how long we'll be together, but I promise you, if we ever become together again, I will never, ever cheat on you unless we both decide that we want to separate and break up first. As long as I'm with you, I promise you, I will never, ever misbehave in that way. And I'm ashamed of myself. I did not value you as much as you are to me. And I made that mistake because I'm stupid, young, and I don't know my way around yet and my responsibilities. If you make that clear to her, then let her make a decision. If she comes back to you, great, be a good boyfriend. If she doesn't, well, you at least did the right thing by explaining, apologizing, and then go from there. No, you don't have to stay in no contact. You express by the flowers and the chocolates or whatever it is that she likes and go to her place and write a letter. If she wants to talk to you, fine. If she doesn't, you have the letter with you, leave it with the goodies at her door. And when she refuses to talk to you, you leave them and you go. And your letter explains what you want to say and what you were there to say. And in the letter, say, I'm here, I'm going to stop by to express my apologies in person. But should you not have given me the chance to talk to you, this is why I have written this letter. I hope you will read it and understand my feelings at the moment. And then the rest of the stuff that we talked about. All right. And that would be the right thing to do because then you're not ignoring the fact that she doesn't want to talk to you and you're not doing anything, just waiting until she changes her mind. And she may not do that. Whether she does or she does, it doesn't matter. Your duty is to apologize to your friend that has been kind to you, you know? You got to learn to appreciate and respect women rather than despite of what's going on around the world and talk about this equality, that equality. The equality doesn't mean that you can fuck around and treat women like shit and call it equal. Oh, they're the same as us. So no, you still got to be cordial, respectful to women, and teach yourself that from this young age. Otherwise, you turn around, become a real horrible asshole when you get older if you continue this way. You don't want a girl, the woman, break up with her and go somewhere else. All right. And Liana, okay, that would be the last question. Liana says, can you see my question, please? Okay. Where is your question? Liana says, Liano, 22-year-old woman from, okay, man or woman? 22-year-old from Germany. I broke up with my girlfriend. Okay. I have liked for 3 months. She had so much red flags, but I still fell in love and she left me for someone else. How to get over her? I can't tell you how to get over her. I've got 5 million videos on the subject. You just look at go on the channel and search for how to get over a breakup, something like that. You will see all kinds of, just say breakup, see how many videos come in, and then choose from the titles. But let's see what I can say here in short. How do I, so I feel like my life is not going to be the same and I will never find out. Oh, God damn it. If you say that again, I'm going to come to Germany with my rocket ship and hit this ugly stick onto your head until you start crying. But put your motorcycle helmet on so you won't get hurt. What kind of a stupid question is that? That's it? 22-year-old, and that was a chance of your life? This girl who happens to be a slut that just leaves you for another guy and then leave that one for another guy, leave that one. No commitment. And you think that was the most that this life could offer? That was the best woman representation of best woman out there? You're in Germany. So many beautiful women around. What the hell is wrong with you? No. There's nothing happened to you. You will find amazing happiness. This is just a way for you to learn that this kind of woman exists. And when you see the red flags, you need to actually trust your feelings rather than being bamboozled by the promise of intimacy and, oh, she's gorgeous, she's handsome, or she's pretty and she's hot, and doesn't matter, she's great. Because this is what happens to us guys. When we're turned on a woman and she's good looking for some reason, one way or another, you just can't see any other aspect of her. You think she's also unselfish, she's also kind, considerate, supportive, careful, patient, loving, generous, and all that you desire and you hope a woman will have, you give it to her without even measuring it or having any evidence that she's all that, just because you're turned on. That's the thing that you got to be watching in your life when you meet a girl. Most women today are beautiful. Either they are by birth or they do things to themselves. They look beautiful. And we are visual. Men are very visual. We see them, we like them, we follow them. We think that liking them expresses also their personality. It doesn't. Their look does not represent their personality necessarily. So you can't tell someone is a good woman because she looks hot. No, she could be an asshole, but still looks pretty. And men have a hard time not falling for the pretty, even though if she's an asshole. Because sexuality and sexual intimacy is so important to us, and we are wired through that we can hardly see qualities away from the pleasure of intimacy. We can't distinguish it at that moment. So, having said that, let's end our conversation. There's one more. Morgan Freeland says, male 20th Ireland, says, hilarious and insightful as always, Mehran. Thanks for all the great content. You're quite welcome, Morgan. Thank you very much for the kind words. And guys, don't forget to promote the channel. It's time for me. What? I focused all my time and energy in her, and I got so much disappointed. You shouldn't have focused all your energy in her, because that's your fault. That's not hers. There's so many beautiful creatures walk around. It's your fault to select them right and qualify them. The problem with you is that you don't qualify. You just say, if your dick is up, then she's qualified. That's not qualification. That's your biological response to a woman. But you need to go beyond that and see if she qualifies to take your attention. Not that she turns you on. Every woman can turn you on. If you're a heterosexual man, if you're a heterosexual male, almost every woman on earth could turn you on because there's something we like about them, and it's a biological response. But if you want to have a relationship with them, the relationship is not based on the physical compatibility only. That is part of it. But the relationship and that whole special relationship takes place in the consciousness level. If you guys can bond on consciousness level. If you can do that, then great. But if you can't, then you shouldn't go on with it, and you shouldn't be fooled that because she looks pretty, then why is it not working? Because you didn't qualify her. You got to spend some time, get to know her, and see if she actually has the qualities, the ingredients that could make a good cake. Otherwise, the cake could look good, but inside could be shit. And you can't tell until you spend time with it to dig a little bit deeper. So don't judge a cake by its design and decoration. Have a little time and go a little bit deep, sample from the deep. Through time and interaction, you will get that sample that if she qualifies on consciousness level and compatibility, and if you guys are compatible or not. And that's how you will get that going. Right now, move on. No big deal. Another girl. All right, guys, it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity a thing or two to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. Don't forget to watch the videos on the channel and make an appointment with me if you wish to talk to me. I have a special questions or special situation where you want to have a consultation. And I've put my site there. And also have certain standards when you're looking for a relationship rather than just looking to see if someone is aesthetically meeting your standards. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mindthatseekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.